Passing data to subroutine. There are different methods to pass data to the subroutines as arguments. Depending upon the type and complexity of the arguments, they can be passed by value or by reference. Pass by value. When the arguments to be passed are simple arguments, their values are copied and passed to the subroutines. Whatever happens to those values in the subroutine doesn't affect the values of the arguments in the main program. This is known as pass by value or call by value. An example is given here for your reference. User bin Perl. Example of pass by value. Use strict. My $I equals 2. Sample sub $I. Print in the main program after the subroutine call $I equals $I/n/n exit. Subroutine sub sample sub my $I equal to @_ $I plus equal to 100. Print in subroutine sample sub $I equals $I/n/n. When executed, the output produced will be in subroutine sample sub $I equals 102. In the main program, after the subroutine call $I equals 2. Pass by reference. If the arguments are more complicated, like a mixture of scalars, arrays and hashes, Perl cannot often distinguish between them. All these arguments are passed to the subroutine as a single array @_ the special array. Thus, if there are arrays or hashes as arguments, their elements get flattened out into the single array @_ in the subroutine. Consider the following example. User bin Perl problem of pass by value with two arrays. Use strict my @I equal to 1, 2, 3. My @j equal to a, b, c. Print in main program before calling subroutine I equals $I/n. Print in main program before calling subroutine j equal to $j/n. Reference sub @I, @j. Print in main program after calling subroutine I equals $I/n. Print in main program after calling subroutine j equals $j/n exit. Subroutine sub reference sub my @I, @j equal to @_. Print in subroutine I equals $I/n. Print in subroutine j equal to $j/n. Push @I, 4 shift @j. The output obtained after the execution of this program itself illustrates the problem of this approach. In main program before calling subroutine I equals 1, 2, 3. In main program before calling subroutine j equals a, b, c. In subroutine I equals 1, 2, 3 a, b, c. In subroutine j equals empty. In main program after calling subroutine I equals 1, 2, 3. In main program after calling subroutine j equals a, b, c. That is, in the subroutine all the elements of @I and @j were grouped into one @_ array. The distinction between the two arrays was lost in the subroutine. By the statement my @I, @j equals @_. Perl assigns everything to the first array @I. So, passing multiple arrays into subroutines needs some other mechanisms. Here, only the values are passed and arrays in the main program were not affected by the subroutine. To overcome this problem, the arguments can be passed into the subroutine by reference method known as pass by reference or call by reference. Using pass by reference, we can pass any collection of scalars, arrays, hashes, etc. and the subroutine can distinguish between them. The code may be a little bit complex, but the advantage is significant. When arguments are passed by reference, any modifications done to the values of the argument variable in the subroutine may also affect the values of the arguments in the main program. This is because the references are references to the actual arguments and not the copies of their values in pass by value. Calling a subroutine that has its arguments passed by reference is same as with pass by value, but the argument names must be prefixed with a backslash. For the previous example, the subroutine calls can be accomplished like reference sub /i, /j. Then the distinction between them is preserved. Within the subroutine, the arguments are collected from @_array and saved as scalar variables. This is because a reference is a special kind of data that is stored in a scalar variable, no matter whether it is a reference to a scalar, an array, a hash or anything else. The arguments are collected as my $i, $j equal to @_. When reference arguments are used, the subroutine has to dereference them. To dereference a referenced argument, prefix the reference with the symbol that shows what kind of variable it is. A dollar is used for a scalar, @ for an array, percentage for a hash, etc. So, two symbols are associated with the variable name, one their usual symbol and the other a dollar indicating that the variable is a reference. A program code is given here to make these things clear. User bin Perl. Example of pass by reference. Use strict my @i equal to 10, 20, 30, my @j equal to ABC. Print in main program before calling subroutine I equals ._i/n. Print in main program before calling subroutine j equals ._j/n. Reference sub /i, /j. Print in main program after calling subroutine I equals ._i/n. Print in main program after calling subroutine j equal ._j/n. Exit. Subroutine sub reference sub my $i, $j equal to @_. Print in subroutine I equals $i/n. Print in subroutine j equals $j/n. Push @i 40, shift $j. The output obtained will be in main program before calling subroutine I equals 10, 20, 30. In main program before calling subroutine j equals A, B, C. In subroutine I equals 10, 20, 30. In subroutine j equals A, B, C. In main program after calling subroutine I equals 10, 20, 30, 40. In main program after calling subroutine j equals B, C. Here the subroutine push adds an element 40 at the end of the @i array and the shift removes the first element from the @j array. These arrays are passed by reference. Their names in the subroutine are $i and $j. The subroutine can distinguish between the two arrays passed on as arguments and the changes made to the arrays within it remain in effect. These are the essential characteristics of pass by reference. Modules and libraries. To avoid the copying of subroutines for different programs, modules and libraries are used. All reusable subroutines can be collected to a separate file and give a name. The Perl built-in function use is used to read in the subroutine library file and the subroutine's definitions get read in just as it were in the program. The module file have their extensions .pm, but in the use statement it can be omitted.